So
Speaking of Kane, now that he's gone
mm,
and De Bruyne's injured,
yeah,
who are we thinking for most
so
assists for the
it makes
season?
it tough because it would have been Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, he's picked up that injury. I called it a few weeks ago. I think he is injury prone, and then
Yeah,
next game he's injured. What's he out for, like 2 months?
I think he's out for was it 6 weeks? Was it or eight?
It's
Four, four,
Yeah,
significant.
four,
yeah.
four games, 4 Premier League
Actually, no,
games.
I
No,
think you're
more
right.
than
No, I
that.
think you're right. I think you're right. It was 2 to 3 months. I think you're right.
Yeah, like
Um,
yeah.
No, it'll be like eight games at least.
at least, yeah. So yeah, so now he's out of the picture.
Um, I actually don't think this is too off left field. I actually think and he's already got a couple assists, I believe. I mean, I know for a fact that he assisted Haaland the other day. I think Jack Grealish, the turnaround he's had, I think he's definitely going to be up there with the assists. I think he's just going to keep pinging those balls in for Haaland, who's just going to keep knocking them in. So I don't know. I want to say Bruno Fernandes, obviously got the captaincy now. I think that would have really pushed him forward. It's really hard to like him sometimes, and that's coming from a United fan.
I've never heard you say that.
Yeah.
It's just that he doesn't. I wish Rashford got the captaincy because
Yeah,
I think that would have pushed Rashford onto that next level. I think obviously
homegrown. Yeah.
homegrown lads.
Well, let me ask you this then. Do you think, speaking of Fernandez being likable, do you think his teammates like him, or is it just an external thing? Because, like, from my point of view, I've seen some of his teammates on the pitch give him some shit for the antics, like
Yeah,
the
I mean,
acting. So
I don't think English player. I think you'd be hard pressed to name me one English player. It's quite a foreign thing to do, and they're throwing their arms up in the air and they're moaning at their teammates. I,
So wait,
I don't think
I'll
it's a pretty.
interject here. So sorry to interrupt, but you're right. A lot of foreign players do that. Like obviously Ronaldo would do it all the time.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of Milan games. Giroud does it sometimes if he doesn't get a good cross. But like,
yeah, and I know it's the
but
top players that.
but Bruno does it literally after every single play.
This is why I
He's
say it's
constantly
hard to
hounding
like.
the ref.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm
and I don't think
wondering.
it's a becoming of a captain either.
For sure,
exactly.
you need to set the example for your
Oh
team.
no, I agree with you. I'm not saying it's obviously the worst choice. He was definitely I would have put in the running to have the captaincy, but no, I hoped it would have gone to Rashford. Anyway, having said that, he's still very mustard as a player.
Of
He,
course,
I mean, it's like
undeniable.
one of, if not, the best creative midfielder in the league after Kevin De Bruyne.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just think Jack Grealish is just gonna have an absolute rager of a season. And yeah, I'm just going to go for him. I just think that link between him and Haaland, I think they're just going to ping in goals together.
Even after all the boozing he did this summer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's got a couple assists already. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I think he's got 2 assists, maybe.
I'm not 100% sure, but I probably,
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, he's such a great. I mean, we were talking about it actually the other day. You and I. I love Grealish.
yeah.
Obviously, I love him at Aston Villa. I was rattled, obviously, when he went to Man City. I thought he would be a perfect player for Liverpool. I thought he would have suited Liverpool or United or even Arsenal
Yeah,
more. Arsenal obviously has
100%.
stacked in that position, but a lot more. But the fact that he's turned it around because he had a slow start. You were writing him off when he
Yeah,
first
a
got.
lot of people did.
A lot of people did,
You pay
but
100 million for somebody.
of
He's not a
course,
project. You
of
want him to come into the team,
Of
and
course, but I think it's just that's why I was confused, like why, like why he went to City because it's just a complete opposite of the way he plays. He loves driving at people,
Yeah,
taking the ball
yeah.
deep
A
and
risk
driving
taker with the way he
for
plays. Obviously,
sure.
Pep doesn't like that. You keep the ball.
But you have to give him credit. Like he is a special talent. The fact that he's added to his
This
arsenal of
game, yeah,
skill
yeah,
is
yeah.
just
well, I've
crazy.
seen him. I've seen him tracking back the last
Yeah,
few
yeah,
matches.
oh
He's
yeah, yeah.
making tag, and like
Hmm.
that really shows that what Pep
I'm
has
telling you, man,
tried to
the
infuse into
Pep
his game is
the
making a
the Pep effect,
difference.
having that kind of it's stealing this kind of total football into and coaching into our English players.
I respect Grealish because I feel like at a young age he was forced into a system that maybe he wasn't accustomed to. It wasn't, his whole life. It was probably like, oh, give him the ball. He's just going to dribble through everyone. And that's what he did at Villa, pretty
Mhm.
much. And so now you put him in City where it's like probably very structured. This is your job. You must do this. Take no
It's
risks. Keep
working.
the ball.
It's working. How much you have to work off the ball as well.
But I always thought of Grealish a bit of like a prima donna, but you never heard too much complaining from him.
Jamie Tart.
Yeah, exactly. That's in your head. You're like, oh, the type of guy Grealish is, and he's a partier. He enjoys his life.
Loves his haircuts. Yeah.
Yeah, but you never heard any complaining in the media.
No, no,
He
no.
seemed like he
Well,
just put his head down and waited for his
and
opportunities.
he looks like he looks after himself, fit as a fiddle.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Yeah,
like
he's definitely a great professional,
great
for sure.
professional.
Well, he's
Absolutely.
admitted about him. There was a thing with him and Haaland, and he was like, mate, like Haaland shows up at 5 a.m. Every time I show up, he's already in the gym,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like walking in at 10 with my coffee.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think he does what he needs to do
yeah, yeah.
to play
I,
at the
I
highest
think
level.
I think like Haaland's, like the Ronaldos, you know, those type of professionals, those type of athletes where they're so elite, they're so obsessed.
Exactly. That's the word, obsession.
It's obsession, right?
But
Yeah.
I think it's also there's two types of athletes. There's the Ronaldos or the Haalands who are gifted, but not maybe as naturally gifted as a Messi,
Yeah.
where they need to work hard every
Ye-
day to keep their edge,
Yeah.
and that's where they become obsessed.
And become the best because they've
Exactly.
worked on their craft.
Whereas I'm not saying these guys don't work hard, but guys like Grealish or Messi, like they were probably born with just
They got a bit
the
more.
natural
I know what you're
talent.
saying. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
So they probably never had to work as hard in the gym or whatever.
Mm,
You each arrive at the same kind of end goal, but
mm.
in different ways.
Yeah. So that's a Jack Grealish special. We'll be releasing that soon.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Jack Grealish
All right.
as
What are
yeah.
you thinking, Jules?
Um,
Your boy Odegaard?
no, he scores too many goals to get enough assists.
Yeah.
I think James Madison's a good shout. I think that's probably who you're gonna say. Um, I wouldn't have said it either until I watched the first few weeks of the season, and he's looking quite good. So I think if he can hold up injury-wise, fitness-wise, I think he's a good shout. I think if Foden plays a lot of games,
It's another good
I
shout.
was going to ask you why not Foden, but yeah, I think if he kind of steps in and takes that De Bruyne role, I don't really know how they're filling the gap right now, but I know he'll play more minutes with De Bruyne not there, so I think he might be a good shout.
My worry for Foden is that they obviously brought in Kovacic to replace Gundogan. Obviously, Rodri is guaranteed to start every game.
Mm.
But now they've obviously brought in Doku as well, and they've got Bernardo Silva, and if they bring in this Nunez guy,
Yeah,
I worry. Like, I think Foden is amazing. He should be starting every game on any other team.
yeah.
He's had a good start though.
He's had a great start.
Yeah,
He's in terrific
yeah,
form,
yeah.
but
I
I
think
just
he got
feel
man
like
of the match, didn't he? For the
for the
first
second game, I think it
second
was.
game, yeah.
But
But Pep has shown that he's not afraid
No,
to sit
definitely.
Foden on the
No,
bench
no,
and
no.
put somebody else, so who
Absolutely.
knows?
it should, like, remember in fantasy, they'd be juggling between Foden and Mahrez because you just wouldn't know who was first, even
Exactly.
though they're both elite players.
Yeah.
Well, it speaks to the depth that
Yeah.
that team
Insane
has.
stuff have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I
Foden's-
think if Foden played like a whole
Oh, for sure.
season and
Great shout.
whatever, yeah. And then yeah, I think the other one is what you said, Fernandes. So I think I'll go James Madison.
Nice.
I still want to shout out Nkunku. Biggest fan. I would have chosen you.
Chelsea scum. All right. So yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Bruno will be up there. I think James Madison will be up there.
Salah.
I was gonna say Salah as well. Yeah, because he's already has 2 assists.
Right.
He assisted Darwin. Yeah, he has 2 assists. And even in preseason, he was assisting a lot more than he was scoring. And I think he's still able to take players on and whatnot, but I think he's looking a lot more for passes than he did before.
Mm.
He still will get goals. I think his goal involvements overall will be high, but I don't know. I'm on the fence because James Madison's my boy, but one injury and then
Yeah, I mean,
he's very injury prone.
yeah.
I bet De Bruyne comes back and just smashes it basically.
Yeah, just catches up to everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a bad shot.
I mean, if he gets, let's say, 2/3 of a season in, then yeah, I think he's definitely plausible.
What was it last year?
I can't remember.
I think it was De Bruyne.
Oh no, in terms of who won,
Oh.
it was
Yeah, but I
sorry,
mean the
in terms of
definite.
amount,
Yeah.
I
It
can't
had to be
remember.
in the 20s somewhere.
I mean, I would have actually picked Harry
Actually, Kane must have been close.
Kane was
though.
close.
Kane.
Because
And I think
Kane
Kane
was-
had like 25 or 22
Kane was
or
close
something.
in the season before. I actually think, well, it might have been 2 seasons before he topped. See, he was obviously golden assist.
Yeah, I think Kane last year had 30 goals and like 18 assists or
Yeah.
something like crazy.
He
Like
He
that.
would have definitely been in the running, but obviously,
Oh, for sure.
when
Yeah.
we were talking about this a few weeks ago, no one believed he would go to Bayern
Yeah,
Munich.
Kane and De Bruyne would have been the top 2 for
Yeah.
me as well.
Yeah.
So who are you going with, Salah?
It's either Madison or Salah for me. Again, I'm going with players that I like and who I think have a chance. Might not necessarily might do it, but just to have some differences, I'll go with Salah.
all your predictions are just have differences.
Yeah,
And you're gonna,
I'll be the controversial one. I mean, that way when I get it right, I'll look like a boss.
yeah, or your
Or
the mid-season review. You can have
yeah,
everything
So you're
wrong.
going
everything wrong.
Salah, Madison.
Well, I'll just say Salah for
Okay.
most of